Okay, good morning, everyone. I think we'll just start now.
Yeah.
It's been nice to be here. So, some people may be wondering, what does W.T.D.W.M.H means? It means what's to do when your marriage hurts. All right, what do you do when your marriage hurts? What do you do when your marriage hurts? All right, so why did we come up with this? Somebody asks us a question and says that, I don't know, my marriage is so painful now that going home is a huge challenge. What am I supposed to do? I don't get it. My husband seems to be changing. Everything I try to do seems not to be helping out, So we decided to say, you know what? We've had a number of questions like that and similar ones, not exactly, but similar ones. So we decided to do a program on this and to run a free online course and then talk more about how we can bring very quality intervention on this. So, what do you do when your marriage hurts? What do you do when your marriage hurts? All right, so we're just going to go on with that. Sorry about that. We're just going to carry on with that. So, the first slide we'd like to talk about this. Who is this for? All right. This is for engaged couples. So engaged couples are people who are looking forward to getting married, and they've seen their own share of experiences, from their parents or from their guardians or from people around them, and they are not really happy, about what is happening. And they said, you know what, I am going to get married, and I'm going to make sure that things work out. I'll give you a good example. There's a man called Fela Drotoye and Tara Drotoye. Both of them came from broken homes. Tara Drotoye came from a broken home. Fela Drotoye came from a broken home. And they made a commitment that we are going to run a completely different and unique family. And today, they are one of the role models that a lot of people follow as regarding marriage. So, you may come from a bad background. You may come from a challenging background where your parent had a lot of issues in their marriages. It doesn't mean that, no statistics say that people who come from broken homes, they are going to experience similar things. So there are always exceptions to the rule, but you can be the exception to the rule. Not by just relaxing that and trusting and hoping that something will happen, but by taking active charge of your marriage and say, you know what, this divorce thing, this broken marriage issue stops with my own family. I'm not going to pass this on to my next generation. I'm not going to pass this on to my children. I'm not going to pass this on to their family. I'm not going to pass this on to my siblings. I'm going to be a good role model for people to copy, and that's a determination. The second group of people we hope to reach are people who are going through challenging marriage at this particular time. All right, so you've tried everything you've read books, you've gone for counseling, but nothing seemed to have worked. You've spoken to him, you've spoken to her, but nothing seemed to have worked. The pain seems to become more excruciating by the day. And you're feeling like if it was bad in the past, if it's bad now, it's going to be bad in the future unless there is an intervention. I think it was Isaac Newton that says that all objects remain in a state of rest until a force is applied to it. In other words, your marriage will remain how it is right now until a force is applied to it. The force is this course. The force is this training you're going to go through. That's one thing that you can apply to it that will move your marriage to the next phase. And finally, we have a group of couples who want to move their marriage from good to great. You like how things are right now. You have a good romance, you have a good intimacy with your partner, with your spouse, and you want to just make it better because you know that there is always room at the top. There is always room for expansion. You can always get better. And that's the mindset that we have. When we attend marriage seminars, we always open our minds and say, what can I learn? Not what can I learn to teach? What can I learn to improve myself? Because at the end of the day, it is who you are that impacts on your marriage. So that is one mindset that we have. So this is who this for. This is what we do. The people who design this course for. All right, and that will influence a lot of things. Now,
who are we? Okay, we are Chidi and Victor Acuna.
Yeah.
Talking to you now is Chidi Acuna, and the voice you heard before was Victor Acuna.
Yeah.
Okay, our mission is to raise romantic and intimate couples across the globe whose marriages will be models to people around them. people see your marriage and desire to be married. Okay, enough of the bad impressions out there. There are good models.
True.
And then I think it's time for us to shine our light. Okay, and we do this through speaking engagements, seminars, workshops, coaching sessions, counseling, talk shows, books, retreats, okay, and many more. You can find out more about us on our blog. It's at www.foundationforfamilyaffairs.org. Okay, so you can get there. There are a lot of resources there you can help yourself with.
All right, thank you for that. So what she's trying to say is that we designed, everything around us is designed to help you. All right, our lives are about helping you improve your marriage. That's our own personal mission. That's why we are here. That's why we got married. All right, we'll go into all that story much later, how we got married, what brought us together, and many more things.
Are you sure you're sharing that today?
No, not today, but I said much later, not today.
Okay.
All right, so who we are, we've talked about that. So introduction. We'll be talking about stories, about hurting marriages, definition and clarification. All right, I would like to clarify a few concepts. What couples do when marriage hurts, the impact of hurting marriages, all right, why marriage hurts sometimes, you need to know that, then solution that we want to offer you, all right, solution that we want to offer you. That's what we're looking at. Okay, so
Victor Acuna defined a hurting marriage as he compared it to a dislocated joint. The pain. Okay, the pain is an indication that there is something that needs to be fixed. Imagine your joint. I mean, I know I've dislocated my joint at some point. It's so uncomfortable, the pain unbearable. What that means is I don't need to chop off the part the joint connects. Okay, if it's on my wrist, I don't need to chop off my hand. Okay, but it's a pointer to the fact that I need to do something about dealing with that problem, dealing with the pain to make myself feel better. So if your marriage is hurting, it's not for you to throw the bath water with the baby. It's not for you to consider divorce as an option. Okay, but what you can do to fix the pain, what you can do to fix the hurt, and there are solutions. There are solutions.
Thank you for that. And one key thing I'd like to point out is sometimes the hurt or the dislocation is not seen in the skin. You don't notice. The only thing you feel pain, and sometimes it's bloated. But if you look at it, you're not going to see much in terms of the bone. So sometimes a hurting marriage is not seen outside. You know, people see you, you see wear the same color combination, you see go to the same church program, you have a nice time, you welcome guests in the home. Nobody sees. Even your children do not know that you're hurting. However, there is a deep unresolved issue that is resentment is building, all kind of emotional, toxic emotions has been spewed out in the bedroom, and people are getting to that point where they feel, I can't take this anymore. So when you get to that point, you know that your marriage is hurting.
Someone said something, physical hurt, you can see, and you can deal with it. But emotional hurts run so deep that if time is not taken, it can implode. It can affect the person involved and those around this person. So I don't know the parameter for measurement, but I would think it's even worse. It's worse than physical pain.
Well, let's move on to the next thing. Now we need to make a distinction between a hurt and an abuse. Okay, you want to go on with that?
So hurts, the Oxford Living Dictionary defined it as causing pain or injury, while abuse is treating with cruelty or violence, especially regularly or repeatedly. What this simply means is abuse is often with intent, the intent to inflict pain. Okay, Every marriage will go through hurt at some point or the other. I mean, by act or omission. There are times I may not intend to cause you pain, but I may not intend to hurt you. But my action or inaction could hurt you, right? But it doesn't mean I intended to do that. So we need to understand that it's okay if your marriage is hurting at the moment. What matters is, what do I do to sort out the hurt? But abuse is where this person intends to hurt you, and it's on a repeated basis. Okay. In situations like this, we would advise that you seek help.
Don't seek help.
Okay. Do not just remain there and think it's okay to put up with this, probably because of the children, because of self-pride. Do you understand?
Because of what your community will say.
Exactly.
Your family or my friends will say, oh, this guy that I held on to, and the guy is not even a Superman. You know what? Your life is more important. Many people have lost their lives because they were wondering, what will people say? Don't let what will people say put you 6 feet in the ground. All right? Think about your safety. Think about your life. If someone is battering you, someone is threatening you, someone is threatening to kill you, don't wait for them to fulfill that promise or their threats. You have to make plans to exit. Okay. All right. If you are in an abusive relationship, all right, we would like you to send us a private message. I will give you phone numbers that you can reach to address this immediately. All right. Thank you so much. We'll move to the next slide. All right. So, what do people do when marriage hurts? All right. We wrote something here. We said usually there is a cycle of many marriages, many couples fall into this. All right. Sometimes when the hurt occurs, they clam up about the issue. All right. They withdraw. Sometimes they withdraw. They just want to know what. And withdrawal sometimes is when they go into a separate room. You know what? I don't want to talk with you. Or sometimes they may be sleeping in the same bed, and they back each other. You know what? I don't want to have anything to do with you. I want to have as minimal interaction. Yes. Minimal interaction as possible. Or they stonewall, or they give what we call monosyllabic answers. Yes. Right. You know what I'm talking about. Or they do what we call silent treatments. Silent treatment is when you are let me use the word, you are being professional with your spouse. All right. You are being
it's okay.
It's okay. Oh no, everything is fine. It's a passive aggressive way of handling an issue. All right. So you are aggressive, but in a very passive way. And your spouse says, what's the problem? Nothing. Everything is fine. But you know nothing is fine. There's a cold war and a negative energy in the air, in the atmosphere. All right. And that can be very, very poisonous and toxic. All right. So another thing people do is that they dwell on the hurt and they keep rolling it over in their mind. You know what? How could she have said this to me? How can she say that to me? How can she embarrass me before my people? How can she say this to my sister-in-law? I can't believe this is happening. You keep rolling that one issue. It doesn't matter if the person has apologized. You don't, just keep rolling it over. And as you roll it over, it's like meditation. It's like, brooding over it. What is going to happen is that it will activate into resentment, to activate into violence or an abusive word or, verbal abuse. It's going to happen because as you think about it all day long, action will follow because our thoughts will precede our action. Or you hold a grudge, or you keep tiptoeing, as if you're walking on the eggshell around the person. I don't want any issue, just deal with your stuff, So or you allow bitterness, all these things are some of the things that people do. All right. So just want to summarize this in two separate things. Number one is rejection. And number two, sometimes people try to revenge. We've talked about rejection in the other slide. Revenge is when you say, you know what, you did this to me, I'm going to get back at you. And then the
cycle continues.
Because the moment I feel hurt, all right. And then people begin to use their creative mindsets, their creativity to invent how to hurt the other person. And that can be very, very, very painful.
Let's see who hurts more.
Let's see who hurts more. Because, people don't want to lose. Oh, you can see one or two people joining us. That's W.T.D.W.M.H. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see them.
Unfortunately, this is not letting us see the names of the people.
Please, if you are logged on, please leave us a comment so that we'll be able to see the people who are logged on with us, please. Oh, thank you, Bukola. Oh, always supporting. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. All right. So the rest of you, please, if you are logged on, please kindly leave a comment to help us know who is with us so that we can welcome you in a very special way, I should say. All right. So revenge is one of the ways people also try to, you know what, you said this to me. I'm going to wait for your own family reunion and I'm going to create a scene.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to create a drama that will hurt you as well. And it goes on and on and on. Yeah, but that's what happens when people hurt. You know what the emotion is. The rational thinking part of the mind is suspended. Now, let's look at what is the impact of this hurt. Does it have any impact?
Oh,
when people are hurt, is it jolly, good fellow, Hakuna Matata, means don't worry?
The funny thing is,
yes, please.
I could, like you were talking about being so creative with hurting
you.
Yeah. I could decide to hurt you, but the funny thing is, I would be hurting myself as well, and that brings me to the first impact.
Okay.
Health impact.
Interesting. Good point.
The Journal of Health and Social Behavior found that marriages that are full of rows and criticism increase the risk of heart disease. So I'm not absolved of it. Hurting you, yes, I would inflict pain, which would invariably also cause you some health issues if you take that to mind.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I would be hurting myself.
Exactly.
Can you imagine us going through a row? I think medical experts will tell us that when you are angry, just angry, about 72 muscles are involved. Okay. But when you're happy, you engage just about 12 of them. Now, if I engage just about 72 when I'm angry, imagine when I'm having a row, that's top rage.
Amazing.
So a lot more would be involved. And with that, I mean, there are times you get very upset with the situation, especially when you can't help yourself. It gives you a headache.
Exactly. And these are all the health implications. And sometimes some doctors say that is what we call emotionally induced illnesses. All right. So when you have some bitterness and unforgiveness for a long time in your body, it can lead to development of cancerous cells. That's true. All right. These bodies are not designed. Was not designed for God for this kind of. Was not designed by God to harbor some of these negative emotions. So the faster we let those emotions go, the better for us. The idea of forgiving is not something, you're not doing something good for the other person. You're actually doing something good for yourself. I think it was from Joyce Meyer that I heard this thing that he said, unforgiveness is drinking poison
and expecting it to hurt the other person.
Expecting it to hurt the other person. That's, it looks
burning inside.
Yeah, it sounds so like, how can I? But sometimes when you find yourself in a situation like that, because that's how you have been for years, your brain has been wired this way. You've been hardwired this way. You have been programmed this way. It has worked for you in the past because when you were resentful, people rallied around you. You gained attention, and that's how you have grown up as an adult. But now you are married to a man who doesn't even know whether when you are not happy or not, he carries on doing what he's going to do, and that makes you even more bitter and creating more health damage in you.
I had this talk with an elderly woman. I love to talk with people who are a lot older.
Yeah.
And she told me she got asthma. She developed asthma because of the problem she had in her marriage.
Interesting.
Amazing. She said she was fine before marriage, even until years into the marriage. But then at some point they began to have some issues, and things just got complicated. And she started having this thing that whenever she got so angry and would want to lash out, her heart would cease for some minutes. Amazing. And she would need inhalers to clear the path.
Amazing. Can you imagine developing asthma as a mature woman?
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right, Bukola Kiki said something. He said, it's throwing hot coal
with your bare
hands. Powerful illustration. Throwing hot coal.
You pick the coal.
You pick the coal with your hand.
You want to throw it at your spouse. You burn it.
You have to burn your hand first. You sear your hand. Wow. Very powerful illustration.
I like that one.
Throwing hot coals with your bare hands. That's a powerful illustration. All right, the next point we'd like to mention here.
Sorry, does that not tell you there's no wisdom in that? If I have to use my hands to pat the coals.
The truth is that most times we know what we are doing is wrong. We know it mentally, but we don't know it at the emotional level. It's one thing to know that, okay, if I get into a car, I drive this way, I drive that way. It's another thing to actually drive the car.
True.
It is one thing to know that it's good to forgive. You know it as on the level of mental assent. But it's different for you to emotionalize it and say, you know what, this is what I believe. That's why sometimes we believe things that are not rational. People believe that, as a pregnant woman, if I walk during the sunlight, demons will get into my child. People believe things that are not rational. But you try to tell them this is not true. They can't let go. Some people are afraid of dark room. They believe there are crazy people in there. But it's not justified. So sometimes I don't try to reason with the people on marital issue at the level of the reasoning, because people get it. They know that this is not good, but emotionally it's taking it into the emotional and neural level that is the issue.
Yeah, she said the target can even dodge it. That's true.
Oh wow, she's making me crack up now. You're the only one said the target can actually dodge. Oh, because
so who's lost?
She's rocking this morning.
Who's lost? Okay, so we have financial impact.
Financial impact. Most time when couples are having issues within each other, people carry it often breaks down communication. And when it breaks down communication, sometimes they buy things that is not needed in the house. Sometimes they buy, make some emotional decisions. Some people do impulse shopping to feel better. Yeah. And that puts a dent on the finances of the house. And
sorry, you were going to say something.
Yeah, and second thing I was going to say is the question that was posted, although that was for single people, where I think his spouse just went and withdrew £50,000 or dollars to pay off that was a breakdown in communication. Yeah. So one of the things that of when couples hurt is that there's a breakdown in communication, because there's a stonewalling. You say, you know what? The first thing is to self-preserve. When you feel you are hurting, you want to self-preserve. It's like a default response to survive, to protect yourself from whoever is the aggressor. And if you see your spouse as the aggressor, the first thing is to shut down the communication, shut down everything, and lock the person out. And that makes a lot of things to go wrong within those short period of time. For some people is a day, for some people is a week, some people is 1 month. They don't address the real issue. All right.
Let's look at a very petty situation. Right?
Bukola said that is me I shot when I'm not happy. Oh, thank you for opening up here. Yeah, some people do that.
I'm glad you have an accountant as a husband.
Yeah. Bless him.
Okay. I was going to talk about petty issue, right?
Yes.
Imagine a very petty this analogy for a couple now. Imagine both of us, and because there's communication breakdown, like you pointed out.
Yes.
We know we are supposed to shop on a certain day, and we're supposed to buy an item. Let's call it item X. Because this communication breakdown, we're not speaking. I decide to go to purchase that item, and I get home. I realize that you purchased it already, and it's one of those perishables that you cannot return. So what happens? You just lost money.
Exactly.
It's impacted on your finance.
Exactly. And the reason why
that's even at the meager level. We're talking about a hurting marriage where there's a build-up of things. So it would be even worse.
I wanted to discuss the one of parenting as well.
Well, parenting, interestingly, this affects a lot of children. We see a lot of angry children. I've been privileged to work with some teenagers.
Yeah.
You see a lot of angry children. I'll tell you the story of one of the boys I dealt with. And he was so angry. I just couldn't place it. He would get so angry that he would punch the wall.
Wow.
And one day I asked him, I was like, what's the matter? Why? He's so intelligent. Wow. He can engage you in a discussion and you think you're talking with an adult. And when I talked with him, he just, carried on talking. What alerted me was when he said, I am looking forward to meeting my father. So the discussion told that line. It turned out to be that his dad left his mom at some point. He was violent to his mom and then had to, the authorities felt he had to leave. For him, that's retaliation is still there. The thing of revenging. I'm going to take it out. How could he hurt my mom? This wonderful woman. So everything, he's often hostile towards men. Everything about him tells him that men are people to fight.
Exactly.
Do you understand? You don't stay in the same space with me. So he just sees a man and something in him just comes on in the violent way. So what we're trying to say is a hurting marriage can impact on your parenting. Now we've not even looked at the point of children being turned against, parents being turned against each other by their children.
Yeah. Well, the other point I want to quickly look at here is sometimes because children are in these conflict-infested environments, all right, they tend to soak in all the emotions and the negative energy in the atmosphere, and that can go a long way in damaging a child.
A therapist, Terry Gaspard, who specializes in divorce, said that being raised in a high conflict home can cause children to have feelings of low self-esteem and unworthiness. So you see children out there who are low on esteem, who feel they're not good enough. They're amongst their peers and they just don't feel good enough, as good as their peers. Look properly. There could be a problem in the home.
Exactly. And so let's just quickly check what book he said. Is it particularly teenagers angry because they want to do something, but they can't. Exactly. And sometimes some of them blame themselves. They say, you know what, I'm the reason why dad is not here. I was watching a video yesterday, and it took me to a woman who was talking about parenting, and it was amazing. But one of the people I listened to was saying that he feels so bitter that his father left his mom. He feels so bitter. And so the woman who was working with him was trying to say to him that, you know what, I know you feel bitter, but one thing I'd like you to let you know, I want you to know is that one of the reasons why you became the man you are was because you wanted to make it up to your dad. You wanted to prove to him that you are worthy. So what I'm trying to say is that sometimes when there is a hurt in the family, children can feel unworthy and they feel that they want that voice of validation from a man, from a masculine person to tell me, God, you are good enough. You are good enough. But when conflict or hurting makes people just walk out on the relationship, it can be very, very. It can have a negative impact on the children.
She said something very vital here.
Okay.
Revenge. That's okay. That's revenge, right? Okay. Then he takes it into adulthood.
Exactly.
And probably sees his sons the same way.
The same way as well, because it becomes a cycle.
Yeah.
We only duplicate what we know. We all in one way or the other we are broken. We are coming from this broken and hurt environment. No parent will be perfect. All right. So there's a African proverb that says that when you are trained, you need to retrain yourself. You need to reprogram yourself. All right. So we have to come from that place where our parents have done the best they can, but we have to now take on the responsibility. But some of us don't even know we are broken. Yeah. So we go into marriage looking for who will fix that brokenness. We're looking for a spouse that will fix that brokenness. But sometimes the hurting we're talking here is something not exactly what your spouse is doing that is triggering it. It's only reminding you of something in the past. I will give an example. If there are emotions and traumas from the past that you've not had closures on, there is something your spouse will do that will make you react in a way that the man will be wondering, or he or she will be wondering, was it just about this? It's not about that. Sometimes it's about something that happened in the past that have not been closure. The last point we'd like to mention here is spiritual impact. All right. When there is a hurting marriage, there is always a spiritual impact, in the sense that, again, there is a breakdown in communication. Sometimes the heaven closes over the couple, prayers are not answered. And that always affects a lot of things, right? Because the endless time you're supposed to use to pursue God together, you are having issues to often deal with. How we handle it is, anytime there's an issue, we ensure we settle, because I know that I can't really pray if I know my wife is not happy with me. I need to address it, otherwise I know I'm just wasting my time. I can't even go to church and give an offering because I know it's a waste of resources, because God said that keep any offering you want to give and go and reconcile, because that's the only, anything you're doing there, you're just doing a religious activity that doesn't have energy or spirit in what you're doing.
There's a place where it ends by saying that your prayers may be answered.
Yeah, we'll be hindered.
No, I mean you do this. That your prayers.
Okay. I get you now. That your prayers to be answered.
Okay. All right. So Vanessa said something.
Oh, Vanessa said parenting impact. Yeah, this affected you. Oh, bless you.
Can have huge impact on
anyone. Bless you. All right. So we would like to.
She said you even pray amiss.
You even pray amiss, exactly. And sometimes people pray. Even when couples pray, they pray to insult each other.
Instead of praying His word,
we pray in anger. Well, for example, some people will say, God, please touch this man's heart because I've been telling him about this. He has refused to hear. They use the prayer as a war of words between each other, and I think that is really
that just reminds me of a conversation that happened between two ladies. We were in a meeting, we were in church, and after the message, I think the preacher pointed out something one of the women, her husband does, right?
Yes.
So when after service at the lobby, one of the ladies there said, "Oh, I'm so glad the preacher said this. I hope my husband heard him." The other lady was like, "Oh, you weren't even listening for yourself."
Listening for yourself. And that's what often happens sometimes in relationship like that. All right, so let's just move to the next slide and let's see what we have there. All right, so we've talked about impact of hurting marriage. How does it impact our health? It impacts us financially, impact our children, and impact us spiritually. Okay, so it doesn't work for anyone. It doesn't work for anyone. All right, so why marriage hurts? All right, number one is what we call priority problems. All right, marriage hurts when there is a priority problem. In other words, when people begin to focus on make other people their attention, make your job your priority, when you make other relationships your priority, and your spouse feels neglected. I remember many years ago, a woman reached me and said, "You know what? Since the day my mother-in-law walked into my home, I have become non-existent. All the agreement, all the plans I had with we had prepared up to that point. My husband doesn't follow any of them. In fact, I'm treated like a second wife." And I was like, "Oh, really?" She said, "Yeah, that the mom completely took over." All right. So why was she hurting? She was hurting because she was no longer the priority. And the thing about marriage is that marriage only takes number one position. The moment you put your job, your kids, your relationship, your siblings, your parents, except God, if you put any other thing on this planet before your marriage, it will never work. It's going to hurt at one point or the other. Marriage only takes number one position. That's why you have to leave your mother and your father and cleave. All right. So it's that process of living physically, living emotionally, living to that point whereby the first person that comes to your mind to consult is no longer your mom, but your husband. The first person that comes to your mind to discuss with is no longer your mom, but your wife. All right. So it's that's living, that process. Sometimes it takes some people 5 years, 20 years into the marriage. They still have this attachment. It doesn't mean that you're not going to respect your parents or interact with them. No, not at all. But you know what I'm talking about. The first place. The first person that comes to my mind on anything is my wife, because that's the person I've cleaved to. It's a conscious decision. So
people still have this problem in marriage as regards next of kin.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes some next of kin. Sometimes people have what they call it now in their documents. They have next of kin is still their brother or their mom or their dad. When you have a wife, all right. Although there are unique situations, if you have a woman or a man who has issues with spending, all right. So you may find a way to work around it and maybe have a will or something. But if you leave your husband or your next of kin and you don't have a will, nothing goes to your kids. Everything goes to them. And I don't know some I've seen women suffer, practically suffer because their husbands did not have a will, and the next of kin that was left behind, as in dealt with the woman.
Now I can just hear people a question on a woman's mind, and she's wondering, you're asking me to make my husband my next of kin, but I know the kind of man he is. I'm trying to apply preventive measure here. Why I'm saying this is I had that situation with a client. Now, unfortunately, she passed. and they realized her husband suddenly made away with her will. He reached her company and collected her pension and jetted off. Now her mom got suspicious, wondering why so quick? Why was he so fast? To make the claims.
Exactly.
And then decided to query it. And guess what? She realized that unfortunately this man was married to somebody in Africa.
Oh no!
So came here and got married to her daughter. So in essence, he committed bigamy.
Exactly.
So I can just imagine a woman thinking, I know we're supposed to trust ourselves in marriage.
Yeah.
I can't tell you I trust this man 100%.
Exactly.
So what would you...
Well, that's why I suggested that, we need to look at the unique situation. The advice I gave was generic. That was the right thing to do is to have your spouse as the next of kin. Because sometimes when people's spouses pass on, God forbid, there's a lot of issues that come around the assets that the man he or she leaves behind.
Yeah.
Sometimes the children who were the people that you did all this working for, they get nothing, practically nothing. I don't think that's better either. And if depending on the country where you live, if you die without leaving a will or anything behind, what happens is that your wealth goes to the states, depending on the unique situation. In other words, your children get nothing. The government takes on everything. So you have to get an expert to advise on your own unique situation. In a situation like this man never loved the woman. He entered her life basically to defraud her, basically. And who knows if he was even had his hand in her death, who knows? But so we can't use somebody's pain to define our own situation. So we need to look at a professional to look at your own unique situation and give you the best
and seek help. While it's early.
Give you the best advice possible. All right. So another problem that causes marriage to hurt is affairs.
That's a big one. I don't know. I'm getting a bit confused with the researches these days. One research I saw the other day said affairs, infidelity is number one reason why marriages break up. The other day I think I saw another one that said it's criticism, constant criticism. So these are researches, but infidelity is
one of the top that makes it happen. Why? Because the truth is that it leaves a deep wound in the heart. It's a big, massive betrayal of trust. And trust is one of the foundation of marriages, massive pillar in marriages. All right. So sometimes emotional affairs can be emotional. It might just be flirting with somebody you're not married to, or physical. Physical is now you've graduated from emotional and now physical. But sometimes emotional, and this can impact on the marriage, impact on the individual.
You'll be distracted, definitely.
Completely distracted.
And your attention would move. So in that case, your spouse is no more priority.
It's no longer somebody else's priority. All right, irresponsibility problems. Okay. Sometimes people hurt in a marriage because their spouse is just irresponsible. They wouldn't do anything to help around the house. They wouldn't help with the kids. They wouldn't help by working. I've had issues where people just say, my husband wouldn't work. He just sits down in the house waiting for one contract that has never come for the past 5 years. He's just lazy. And so that can make a woman feel overworked. Some men just, they just sit down and just take a back seat and let the woman do all the work. They don't use any form of help. And when you leave them to anything, they mess it up. And when you come back, you end up doing more work. So it's better you do it yourself. And they are deliberate about it. Because they know that, since you want me to do this, all right, I'll do it my way. And by then you put the wrong thing in the microwave, put this one in, and the whole place is just messed up. It will take you years and years to clean the whole house. So just don't do anything.
Don't bother.
I told you I can't do this thing, And we as parents, we need to begin to raise our boys to get into the kitchen. We need to begin to raise our boys to help with home chores at home. So we don't program them, because sometimes people have been programmed that the kitchen is the place for the woman. The kitchen is where you prepare food. Anybody can prepare food. Anybody can eat. All right. So these are things we need to begin to untrain our children on, okay, so that they don't cross heads for someone else's daughter in the future. All right. So sometimes it's the woman who just leaves all the assignments for the man. The man is working 3-4 jobs and just say, oh, it's the work of the man to look after me. The man is going to die one day, and then you're going to get out there and work. All right, so don't put all the burden on someone, because
when you're talking about burden, I think it's all encompassing, even financial burdens, because sometimes when there's a financial burden, the woman sits back and it's like, oh, it's the man.
It's his headache. My money is my money. His money is our money. Come on, this is a covenant. A covenant means two equal partners or two partners come together to forge ahead, to come, to create a new experience.
And then in that case, the pool resources. Financial, emotional,
good.
All the resources available to make this marriage work. Okay, so we've got attitude problems, showing lack of respect. Sometimes men say, oh, she doesn't respect me. And unfortunately, sometimes women think, what's this whole fuss about respect? But I think we've said it before that love to a man is interpreted as respect. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. A man interprets love as respect. If you love me, you would respect me. I should command your respect.
Buki said. She said, the kitchen is where you prepare food, Lola. The kitchen is not the place for the humans.
Yeah, she said some women are not helpful as well.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. We missed something here. Yeah. She said, what would you advise those involved in infidelity to do?
Wow.
That's a big question.
That's a big question. What will you advise those involved in infidelity?
We can summarize our response.
Yeah, what I would just is to seek counsel. Why? Because every divorce issue, every infidelity issue is unique.
Yeah.
If you want us to have you can reach us inbox, and we're going to talk about it, because it's not something we can discuss on an open forum like this. We need to know what are the causes, what led to it, what happened, so that when you're giving a solution, it will be a comprehensive solution. It will be something practical. And as coaches, we don't always we're not quick in terms of giving advice. In fact, we don't give advice. We need to understand what the issues are. All right. So before we can give you a response, so
we'll hit your inbox.
Yes, please. We'll discuss about that.
Okay. So we're talking about attitude problems. Talked about lack of respect. Okay. Sometimes the attitude may just be lying.
Yeah.
Or
constant lying.
The mind is like, I'm sure that would come on that attitude.
Yeah.
Her good morning is when she says good morning, I need to check it. What's going on? The woman is like, I don't even know the dealings he's involved in.
Yeah. Some people don't even know the detail of the jobs their husband. They don't even know. All right. So actually, can be lying when someone lies so much that you don't even know what to believe anymore. All right. Or they just have a negative attitude towards your family, or they have a negative attitude towards you. They anything that irritates them, they just like an adult throwing tantrum. That can hurt somebody. All right, identity problem can also be one of the reasons why things.
This is a big one. Yeah. This is a big one.
Yep.
Where sometimes you find out that in the marriage, one person loses her voice or his voice.
Exactly.
Okay. Or he feels he just has to get on in the relationship,
just a peaceful reign.
Yes, or just to meet the needs of the other.
Exactly.
Okay. It's sometimes very subtle, but it affects a lot of things, because if it's a situation where it's, for instance, the woman who is involved, she stays there and then she suddenly begins to feel like she's a shadow of herself. She's not the person she used to be before marriage, because she needs to come under this man in the name of submission.
Yeah.
And for some people, it leads to depression. And they lose their voice. Yes, and then they begin to resent the man, resent marriage, and they suddenly become bitter, and everything goes downhill.
Exactly. The last one we like to discuss here is stagnancy. Sometimes when a spouse is progressing in his career, or the woman is making progress, but the man is just there, you just say that I'm comfortable being the house husband, I'm comfortable just looking after the boy or the daughter, and the woman is making progress, is progressing and meeting some kind of people, and her mindset is expanding. They just get to that point where there will be a huge mental gap, what we call
mental incompatibility,
where what you are living is like you're living in two separate planets. So, and that when that happens is that people sometimes feel like, do I make a mistake? I can't even bring my wife or my husband to the function where I attend because I'm concerned about how he's going to appear, how he's going to dress, his jokes will be off. He doesn't even understand half of what he'll be discussing. So this can make somebody hurt. And when someone begins to feel stuck with someone who is living in the stone age, and you're living in the IT world, it can be a huge issue. So that's why you see some people, when they get promoted, they marry a different spouse because they feel that, man, this woman can't fit my new status, or this man can't fit my new status. So sometimes this causes a lot of hurt. All right, so now we've talked about
all these problems.
Impact of hurting marriage. We've talked about why marriage hurts. Now, what's the solution? All right, what solution do we have that has been tried and trusted? What is that solution that we can offer you to be able to help you move ahead? All right, so the first thing we'd like to say is that this solution will help. It's like if you're feeling this hurt, you need to change the channel of your marriage. Change the channel of your marriage. And one way to do that is that we're going to recommend a program that has helped many couples, many single people, and many engaged couples as well to transform their own marriage and their own relationship. Okay, it's called Intimacy Builder Program. It helps you change how things are at the moment. Okay, Intimacy Builder Program. That is what we're talking about. Now, what is the Intimacy Builder Program about? It's a program that helps you move from where you are at in your marriage to where you want to be. For example, you are in a situation whereby your husband doesn't open up to you. No matter what you do, it just completely shuts you out. You don't know his plans. He comes back to you, say that, okay, I made this purchase. You don't know anything about him. And you've tried your best to connect with him, but it doesn't connect. When you try to talk with him, he just gives you headlines, monosyllabic answers, and you don't know what to do. And you feel that you don't know what is happening in his life. He travels on maybe like a week. You don't even know. He doesn't communicate to you, and that's a huge problem because when you are in a partnership with someone and the person is not disclosing, if anything happens, you don't even know where to go and look for him. So, Intimacy Builder Program will help you take yourself from that situation to the point where your husband feels comfortable, to disclose and to bring you into his world, because we all have different layers of world. The innermost part is where you bring the most trusted confidence. To bring you from that external place where he's kept you emotionally, to bring you into his world. There are things that you need to do to get into your man's heart. That's why we said, discover the sure path to being number one in your spouse's heart. Okay? Now, do you feel stuck? I know some of us, not everybody who have been in this situation where your car just gets stuck. Marriage can be like this. You just feel stuck. You can't go back. You can't go forward. You just remain on the same spot. And that spot is painful. It's excruciating. It's not a palatable experience in any way. So if you feel this way, the best recommendation we're going to give to you is Intimacy Builder Program that will help you move your marriage forward. All right. We'll just quickly talk you through this. So the first thing we'd like to say is this.